Hello, adventurers. Welcome to the Starfall Tavern. Today, I'm more scripted than usual. We're having a tutorial to go through, so if you catch the one or other string on me, you'll know what's up. Also, to clarify, this is not a step-by-step tutorial, rather a showcase on how I did the post Vtubers. I personally like to say that cutting up a VTuber is not difficult. You could think of it as drawing a paper puppet with different layers in front of it or in the back. So that's usually the place you want to start thinking about when doing a sketch. Usually I start by cutting here already. I separate the base body from any toggles that I might want to have later down the line. So for the post model, it meant separating the legs and arms in the sketch, additionally to expressions. I wanted to do a second hairstyle, but I ended up not doing that at all. Bonus advice: when sketching the base, be sure to already put the layers in a sketch group. It will make things easier and more organized. And be sure to use the mirror tool for all the things you can mirror. And it'll make your life 100% more easier, and you don't have to like draw everything twice. So once I decided on the two poses for the arms and legs, I finished the outfits, and then I started the base color phase. This is the most daunting phase of them all, base coloring. I don't know what makes this part of the models daunting to me. It's literally just following the grounds that were laid in the sketches. Here you'll finally realize how big your project is and how well your PC or laptop is equipped to handling larger files. It's really just a stress test. This is also where separated sketch layers and naming your layers. Please do this. I know I'm lazy as well, but please, if you can, do it. Really, really important. That will come hugely in clutch. Believe me, you don't want to lose yourselves in the hundreds of layers you will have. Believe me, I have like 2 files with 200 layers minimum. Believe me, you don't want to lose yourself. You really don't. If you're aligning line art, you can either hide it behind the base layer or draw it on top of the base layer. This is sometimes called underlayering, or like underfill, um, which can be helpful as well. Here's my bonus advice: if you use Clip Studio for this, go to your layer folder and right click on the miniature layer. Then set the miniature window settings to show only the layer area. It'll help you a lot with seeing dots that aren't supposed to be there way faster. And it'll actually, you'll notice this way quicker, so you don't have to like clean up that much. Now onto the final step. That is rendering. For the skies, for example, they are a bit more difficult. For them, I basically used the base layer, copied it, and clipped the layer with the universe pig. It's sort of like a mask. You use it. The rest is just your usual rendering style, except you have to painstakingly draw on each separated part. I recommend that you should separate some on the shadow layers, like the head shadow or the neck, head and neck shadow, since you want them to kind of move on their own, sort of like my own neck here, as you hopefully are able to see. Yeah. Bonus advice: Live 2D as of now uses more layer options than a previous multiply or additive. It isn't compatible though with YouTube Studio as of now, as of recording. So I would always recommend you to just use multiply or additive layers for now. Um, and you should plan that out. Just to be on the safe side. Whoop, why am I crying? Once we're done with rendering, we can export the model as a PSD file. Very, very important that you, if you're using Clip Studio, export it as save as, not export as. Because for some reason it doesn't work when I'm doing the export as. So always save as PSD file, and it will save. If you already have the Clip Studio file saved, it will also additionally save as a PSD file. Reason why we are going to be using PSD files is that it's the only file Live2D will be able to read with the layers intact like that, and we'll need that. Be sure to erase all the unnecessary layers you don't want to rig, such as the sketch layers or the paper background. Clip Studio, for example, adds automatically to any canvas. The next step would be rigging. I won't go into depth here because I'm still learning. But essentially rigging isn't too hard. It's a lot of repetitive stuff that you'll have to do. I'll link some better tutorials down below, so be sure to check that out. But essentially, yeah, you have your parameters which you will sort of apply like keyframes that the program Vtubers Studio will later use as translations of your movement. Your keyframes are put on what you can imagine as like mathematical graphs, like X and Y, you know, these mathematical graphs. With X, of course, being your left and right movement, and Y your up and down. The only thing that changes for a rigged pose model is the legs position and the arms position, which you can see. So the only thing you really have to do is adjust the X and Y and the physics of these parts to what you want to rig and want them to rig. Like, for example, if I go left or right, my arm will go either in front or in the back. And the same goes for like my thighs. They are just marginally moving along in case. But yeah, it's all in all a very lazy method to make your model more unique, and it's really just easy. You can be creative with that. I've seen illustrated models as well, where they even have different kind of face positions. This one I wanna try out at some point as well. It's looking really interesting, and I'm like impressed at what people can do. But yeah, for those of course that want a closer look into layer separations, I've left some model PSD files in my region that you can check out, either for free or a little price, depending on if I can find my earlier model PSD files. I'll of course use them for free. If not, you'll have my 2.0 PSD file for a little price. So you can take a look at and learn how I did it. I think it's always like better to see how a person did that, and from that you can always learn, and it's been helpful to me as well. So that's something that exists as additional help. Yeah. I hope this video was at least a bit helpful and informative. I don't always use my brain cell, but when I do, the things that turn out are less questionable. Really. But I hope you enjoyed nonetheless, and I hope I can catch you next week or in one of my streams. Bye bye.